a baby boomer. Give me that.
I've been there and I've been here.
I've been places far and near. I stared the devil in the eye. Wrestled the bear, don't ask me why.
Hello, I'm Viejo Fontes, known to you as Viejo Fontes, and welcome back to my blog, and welcome to the second episode, My Generation. People try to put us down just because we get around. Great song by The Who, except for that one line, hope I die before I get old. Whew, dodge that bullet. So we are the baby boomers, born between 1946 and 1964. You know us, millennials and Gen Xers, we're the foot on your throat, the ones that won't let you up because we love power. And power is what we're going to hold on to as long as we can. You can bet on that. So I thought, being a former teacher, it'd be a good idea to give us a grade and see what our legacy is going to be. So we're talking about the baby boomers. Well, there's several things that we brought to prominence, even though we didn't invent most of this stuff, but we're the ones that really made it work. Rock and roll. Professor Longhair and Louis Jordan, they're pretty much the fathers of rock and roll. But it was our generation, the Beatles, the Stones, the Who, the Creedence Clearwater. I mean, it just goes on forever, the list, okay? We made rock and roll happen, and we made it the monster it is today. Surfing, the same thing. The Hawaiians had been surfing a long time. Brah. But it was our generation that got the foam boards and mass produced them. And he had the Beach Boys and the song Wipeout. But surfing became its own in my generation. Smoking pot. Smoking pot was something my generation did a lot. And I remember in the 70s getting high with my doctor, my lawyer, and my dentist. All right? There's that great line in Romancing the Stone where Kathleen Turner says, where Michael Douglas asks her, you know what this stuff is? And she goes, I went to college. Well, college, everybody smoked pot when I went there. All right? We also really made the bohemian lifestyle at a higher level than ever been before. Rents were cheap, restaurants were cheap. I mean, you could work very little and just live a great lifestyle, the bohemian lifestyle. My generation also made professional sports and computer technology the monsters they are today. The salaries that the athletes get, which deservedly so, even though they should pay taxes. You know that professional sports teams don't pay taxes? Maybe that'll be another blog. The computer technology, Bill Gates and Apple and that whole thing, my generation, okay? My generation, even though we didn't invent the pill, we're the ones that brought it to fruition. We're the ones that, the birth control pill with estrogen, we're the ones that liberated women. Women were able to enjoy sex. Women were able to not worry about getting pregnant because they had the pill. But also we have the use of the word dude. That was an old cowboy term, the dude all dressed up. Well, dude became just dude. You know what I'm talking about, dude? Yeah, dude. Well, dude. And we're the makers and the founders of the hippie movement. Nostalgia. The hippie movement. The hippie movement. Wow. What a unique, exciting thing to live through. We were the first generation in the history of the world that their motto was love. Spread love. Hard to go to war if you're love. And of course, we were in the middle of the Vietnam War. Our country felt like it was at war with the older generation that was making us go to war, and the younger generation that was against the war. We didn't hate our brothers that were fighting in Vietnam. We felt sorry for them. We wanted them to come home We really believed in love. And there was a communal feeling, kind of I imagine that the early Christians must have had, that you would sense each other from across the room and wave at each other. It was a sense of camaraderie, of belonging. The hippies, not only expressed love, we're the first generation to express ecology. Hug a tree. And, it's a major issue right now. We still have people we'll talk about later that don't believe that we're in global warming, but we were the ones that started the whole ecological movement. We also were the first ones that really did equality, women's equality, gay equality, religious equality, color equality. We're all level. And that was a great thing about the hippies. We didn't look down on anybody, right? We had great music, all right? That was part of the hippie thing. There was always music around you. It had to be part of your life. And of course, there was free love. Free love in conjunction with the pill. I mean, no one had any fears, unfortunately. There's always a few VD diseases out there, but there is anyway. And the hippies didn't start those. Also, the hippies made getting high a lifestyle. It wasn't just a party thing, it was a lifestyle, It was, you wore hemp clothes and you smoked hemp, and it was pretty fascinating. But, something like this doesn't stand a chance in this world. Not with the greed and the war and the killing. Not a chance. And the hippie movement slowly was crushed out. It was crushed out by drug dealing, hard drugs. Once hard drugs, once coke, and smack, and eventually, meth hit the movement. It just brought it down. There was the hallucinogenic drugs, which actually can be quite therapeutic, quite exciting, and more can be looked into it. It used to be used as a cure for alcoholism. They would give people LSD, and whoa, that woke them up a little bit. But the hippie movement, you knew it was doomed when you went to a love-in at Griffith Park and the Hells Angels are there. Nothing against the Hells Angels, but they're not really part of the hippie movement. And so it was the downfall between the thugs and the hard drugs. It just became too much. And it was crushed and ultimately ridiculed. But a lot of the great ideas we're still dealing with today. The baby boomer generation was given great gifts by the former generation. It was called the greatest generation, the winners of World War II. They were the ones who not only defeated fascism, but basically handed to my generation the planet. We had the most freedoms in the world. Perfect proof is the hippie movement. How could that start in a country that didn't have total freedom? You could say what you want. You could move where you want. I know there was still some racism, especially in the South and the Southwest, but nevertheless, it was more free than it had ever been. We had money. Money was accessible to everybody. A father of a family could work 40 hours a week, make a house payment and a car payment, and still save money for the kids to go to school. It was a time of a strong middle class. It was a time of strong unions, which helped build that middle class. That's before the word union became a dirty word. I don't know what the hell that's got, but that's the way it is now. So with this economic boost that we had, being the strongest economy in the world, we were able to make great strides in science and health. We were able to get rid of polio. We were able to make great strides in so many other diseases. We also had a very remarkable thing called the family doctor. It's kind of unbelievable to think of that now. Not even in sitcoms are there family doctors. and you would have one. So there was just a great sense of well-being in the country. Also, we had affordable education. I went to Cal State Northridge when it was called San Fernando Valley State College. I paid $500 a semester for everything, including books, which gave me enough money to have left over to get an apartment and to drive my little VW Bug. Oh, life was sweet. So we were able to get educated. We were given this beautiful country, nature. We had state parks and federal parks, and they were well groomed and they were well taken care of because the greatest generation had a sense of stewardship, which we seem to have lost before we started selling everything for clear cutting. But we'll get into that in a minute. So we're giving a gorgeous planet. When we're giving, most important of all, the global stage. We were the global leaders. Our parents had won World War II, and our generation stepped right up into the forefront to be the leaders of the world. We had global leadership, and we had everything else going for us. It's interesting to see what we did with it. Unfortunately, there's an unfortunate. Why does it have to be an unfortunately? The unfortunate that I mentioned, unfortunately, comes from what my generation did with all these gifts that we were given to by the greatest generation. Let's take freedom first. You know, we have NSA surveillance going on all the time. Whistleblowers are called criminals because there is no transparency with the government at all. We're supposed to have some kind of transparency, of course, not our deepest secrets where we hide our A-bomb or whatever, but nevertheless, there's no transparency. The NSA surveillance is very much like Big Brother. And hopefully you read that book. If you haven't read 1984, get off your ass and read it. And that and Animal Farm, too. But anyway, so we have the NSA surveillance issue. There goes freedom down the toilet. We have the Citizens United thing, where freedom goes to the other end. It allows billionaires to give as much money as they want to elections. They buy the elections. They deluge the airwaves with negative advertising until the average person just goes, well, I guess he's the one or she's the one, and they vote for him. It's ridiculous. They have taken away the power of the vote, and all because of too much freedom there. We have gay right issues still. I mean, we're still discussing whether you can marry the person you love. Who are you to tell anybody who they can love and who they can't love? You know, we're still debating that. We're still having cops being shot. Cops shooting, black citizens. We have no immigrant rights. You know, we're still struggling with all of these freedom issues that we should have solved a long time ago. Money. We were given this great idea for money, right? Money was for everybody. Now there's the 1% who own 50% of everything, of everybody else combined. You know, we don't have enough money to pay women equally, the gender pay disparity. We can't afford minimum wage to be raised so people can work one job instead of two jobs, or some people even 3 jobs. You know, I mean, greed is strangling this generation. And, you know, and then there's that science and health issues. We have big pharma pushing drugs on television, and they have all of those, warnings. You know, this may make you depressed, give you thoughts of suicide, may lead to death. Your dick's gonna fall off. Your vagina's gonna dry up and pucker in. I mean, these are side effects. And then they go, ask your doctor if Gazunga is good for you. I mean, that's big pharma. You know, it's a bunch of bullshit. And then the Obamacare. What's with the Obamacare? We're the only industrialized nation, top tier nation that doesn't give health care to everybody. Single payer health care for everybody, but not us. You know, Mr. Obama, you should have shoved it down their throats. You should have just told them, This is the way it's going to be. We're going to be a modern country and take care of the citizens that we expect to fight our stupid wars. So, also, who let the creationists in the educational building? What a bunch of jackasses. Do you really think it was like a million BC movie where man and dinosaurs were walking the earth together? The earth is not 5,000 years old, pendejos. You know, I mean, it's crazy. You know, and then vaccination deniers. Oh my God. You know, I mean, give your kid polio and see how sad you're going to be you didn't vaccinate him. And global warming deniers. I can't believe it. You know, the evidence is there. One scientist who's paid by Monsanto or somebody out of 50,000 scientists isn't for it. You know, I mean, it's absolutely absurd. The most obvious of the gifts that we have done away with is education. We had a chance to be educated. We became the most educated generation in the history of man. And what have we done? Well, we've just totally screwed the other generations. We have this student loan for profit system, and the government's involved with that. And Republicans should be ashamed of themselves by not helping things change. We could be like Europe, where they educate the citizenry for free, right? Because they know that an educated citizenry will make good decisions on things like global warming and fiscal responsibility. But no, that's not going to happen. Not for us. We want to squeeze that next generation for them to get educated. And they're going to be taking 20, 25 years to pay this off. It's absolutely obscene. It's horrible. And we're also squeezing junior colleges. A great system. We're squeezing it shut. And then they have these online colleges that people never get degrees from. And they're being supported again by the Republicans. You know, I mean, it's ridiculous. We don't want to educate our people. Another thing we're doing wrong is that we've gotten rid of civics classes. So that citizenry will learn how their government works, so they know how they can change things. But they don't want them. We don't want that. We just want you to vote according to what the ads say on TV. And God bless America. I mean, it's ridiculous, you know. And we don't educate our citizenry, therefore we fall into prey to the negative advertising. It's just a mess. And it's all because we are greedy and don't want to back up education. And then we have, of course, the issue of nature. When I was a kid, you could stand on the beach in Santa Monica and see fish swimming everywhere. You could go up the coast a little bit and get abalone. You could get crab. I mean, it was just a wonderland. It was just beautiful stuff. And, you know, now what do we have? We have national parks and state parks being closed. We have global warming deniers. We have the planet, the ice caps are melting. And we're supposed to be the leaders. This generation, you know, of Americans is supposed to be the ones changing all this. We have a trash island the size of Texas. As if Texas wasn't trashy enough. And, you know, it's just a bunch of plastic out there floating together, killing things. We're stuck on fuel emissions of carbon and oil, which are just fossil fuel, which is just crazy. When we could be going to solar, or we could be going to wind energy or tidal energy. There's all these other ways of doing it. We're addicted to war. We have one war after another. The military-industrial complex is constantly selling us stuff to have more war. You know, America spends more on weapons than all the other 10 countries, the next 10 countries put together. Who the hell is going to fucking attack us? You know, it's ridiculous. We have so many tanks, we're giving them to LA Unified. And we have oil spills. Everything from Exxon Valdez to the Gulf, and now they want to put in a Keystone Pipeline. My God, we have an aging nuclear arsenal that's not being taken care of. What's going to happen when those things just decide to deteriorate? We have chemicals warfare. I mean, agents in tanks in Mississippi. and in danger of exploding. We're going to lose Mississippi. Then what are we going to do? Oh my God. It's insane. We're not dealing with these issues because everything costs money, and money is to be made, not spent. Well, I guess this leads us to the point of we talk about global leadership. You'd think after the Vietnam War, our generation would have been smarter. Vietnam, they sacrificed 57,000 of my generation, basically, and it was for naught. We were the bad guys. Now, I'm not attacking the soldiers, just like in the other wars that I don't think were ill-conceived, or not well thought out. You don't blame the soldiers. They always had heroism. They did the best they could, and we always wanted them all to come home. You have to blame the people who sent them, and especially if they sent them for the wrong reasons. The biggest sin, I think, of our generation, it was that mistake we made in Iraq. It was war crimes, basically. The problem is we are an empire. We have troops in so many countries. I mean, what, Germany hasn't been defeated. We have troops in Italy. We have troops in France. I mean, Spain. I can't name all the places we have troops. Why? Because we're an empire. We don't need them. Bring them home, put them working and changing and making America better. Okay? Put them working in our parks, put them working on our bridges, put them working on our highways, put them working on nature, something. It was clearly a war for profit, and I think subject to investigation for war crimes. Our generation also, as global leadership, we're way behind on the ecological issues. We're not doing anything about the ecological issues. It was just, we're failing as being leaders. Now, this generation has had two presidents. The first one, Bill Clinton, a very bright and able man, left office with a huge plus for the economy. But I think his character is rather shameful. It has nothing to do with the fact that he's a womanizer. We all know about that. Jennifer Flowers, Paula Jones, and of course Monica Lewinsky. My issue is not that he's a womanizer, it's how he treats the women and how he throws them under the bus after he's done with them. What he did to Monica Lewinsky is absolutely shameful. Instead of having the courage of being a man and saying, yes, I'm the older, more sophisticated leader in this relationship because I'm the president, not only that, I'm the man and I'm older, and I'm letting this girl suck my dick, right? And so when the issue comes down, what does he do? I didn't have sex with that woman. Threw this poor girl into a tailspin where she was eaten alive by the press, just vilified, and what a sleazebag. He's the type of sleazebag who won't inhale. Oh, he'll hang out with you just so he can be with the cool guys, but he won't inhale. Or he might have, and he's a liar either way. He's a liar. So, I'm not crazy about the guy. About his wife, that's a whole other issue. I like to call it Billary. Well, we'll see what happens. Better than any Republican, don't get me wrong. Better than any Republican. I don't want someone who thinks that man was walking around with dinosaurs, or doesn't believe in global warming. So anyway. Now, the second guy is, of course, W. W seems like actually, if you get down, sit down and smoke a joint with him, he might be kind of a fun guy for an afternoon. But the fact is, his lack of leadership, his lack of intelligence, his lack of moral compass was his downfall, and he's basically a war criminal. What he did in Iraq, his administration, all the mercenaries that they had there, all the war for profit through Halliburton and Blackwater. This was a debacle. This was just absolutely heinous, and we're still paying for it. It broke the economy, morally broke us, economically broke us, and in the eyes of the world broke us. And now we have this mess that we can't control. That's just gone out of control because of what he did in Iraq. So that leaves us with, a guy with a C average intellect running a country. I mean, my God. That's one of the reasons our country's against intellectuals. I mean, that's just the way it is. So that leaves us with Obama. He's also a baby boomer. I feel the jury's out for this guy. I feel he had a great chance when he had Congress to really push his agenda and act like a leader and say, you don't like it, you guys can vote me out. But he didn't. And he let them talk smack to him, and he didn't slap them down. And he let them, instead of being a forceful guy, I always say I voted for, what I thought I voted for was a black activist, and I got Barry the nice Negro. And I like Barry, but I want him to push that liberal agenda that we need so badly for this country. Now, I got some good news. Dick Cheney, the Koch brothers, Newt Gingrich, and Bill Cosby, they aren't baby boomers. Well, I think it's about time that we give this generation a grade, don't you? I mean, it's, all the evidence has been laid out. The fact that one generation is supposed to help the next generation and set things up for them. We were set up royally, and we're screwing the next generations royally. I'd say the best we can do is give us a D. And the only reason we're not getting an F is because we still have a chance. It's the bottom of the ninth. Let's rally and win this game. Let's help the planet and help the people and do the right thing. Start using science and education to make your decisions, and leave your religion out of politics. Believe what you want, pray to who you want, but keep it out of politics. And let's get this country going in a stronger direction that we're helping everybody, not leaving anybody out. And for you younger generations, you guys get your asses involved. Vote us out, bro. Vote us out. And then help change the world. Save the world. This is like your chance. Because we didn't do it. You got to do it. Save the world. But you got to get involved to do that. Now, I hope you enjoyed this conversation or this lecture. And I'd like to ask you to please subscribe to my channel on YouTube. And help me pick the next subject. So you can leave a comment down below there on the webpage, and you can leave a comment down below or on the YouTube, and help me pick what the next issue would be. It could be on patriotism, it could be religion, it could be education, God, whatever fits your fancy. Thanks a lot for watching. This is Viejo Fontes, zooming out.